everyone, Diane here, welcome to my studio. After Christmas I will have some kind of a massive clear out in the studio here, and one way of starting to get in the mood for that is to sort out my paints. So today I've got here all my little palettes that I've been mixing paint in recently, and usually I just stick them in the washing up separately from everything else, of course, and wash them all clean. But I thought I won't waste this paint because I've been practicing colour mixing, because we're going to do some colour mixing tutorials after Christmas. And I thought I won't waste all of this. What I'll do is, rather than just throw it all away, I'll try to use it up, and I'll do a kind of meditation on cleaning dishes. How about that? So I'm just getting them all out and I'm going to lay them out. Those are all a mixture of various colours like Winsor & Newton and Schminke and others. This is Core. That's been in this dish for a while actually, and I never get around to using it, so I'll put that over there. Then here, people have been saying, what happened to all your little dishes? Well, nothing, they've just been hibernating a little bit. So I'm going to get all of those out as well and give them a little bit of a workout. I'm just laying them out here on a piece of my weaving. This is something I made from one of our sheep a couple of years ago. Oh, that's a bit mucky. I do like to spin and weave, but I don't have much time for it these days, I have to say, which is a bit of a pity, but never mind. I do the odd thing. So I'm just putting all of these out. That's buff titanium, by the way, not this bit here, but this bit here, which is a colour by what's it called? Daniel Smith. It's basically, I don't know, it's a bit of a secret, but it can be made with white mixed with burnt umber or raw umber and a touch of blue. You can get very close if you haven't got any of that. It's nothing like the colour on the label. I'm going to be using that as part of my secret mixing system for getting nice pinks and greens, which we'll do after Christmas. So I've got those all laid out. I've also got my, just handy in case I desperately need it, I've got my Kuretake Art Nouveau, which I have reboxed into the bottom part of a Masterson Stay Wet palette. I've also got the graphite ones here and the metallics, and a couple of ones that are from the big set, from the 48 set. The 48 set is here, and I'm showing this again because a few people have asked how I keep my paints organised. This is the lid to a Meeden Stephen Quiller rip-off studio palette, which is a ceramic palette with a plastic lid, and this is about 13 inches square and about an inch and a little bit deep, and it takes all of these paints, which is about 4 times 10, there's about 40 in there, so it's almost the whole set. And the odd ones that are left over, I put them in as I said, in that other one. And this is great because it gives you a nice big, you could put more rows, another row there, and you could get them all in and still give you some space for mixing. But well, this is the way I've preferred to do it, so I've done it like that, and I might change it at some point in the future, but that works for me. This is, oh my God, give yourself a rupture doing that. This is the bottom part of that. This goes on top of this, but I don't bother to put the lid on it. This is the complete set of Meeden paints in here. That's their what they call their ceramic studio round palette. It's very heavy. I don't use it very much because it's too heavy. But yeah, anyway, it's handy. And if you've got the kind of studio where you have everything laid out permanently and you never move anything, and you always use the same paints, then that is a very, very good idea. And as for brushes, I'm going to use probably nothing bigger than this because I've got fairly small amounts of paint. So I'll use a number 7 and a number 9 round. This is a Drawwell, one of my Japanese brushes. I still like them a lot. And this is the Craftamo, one of the Craftamo set, which are still available. They will be for a little while, all the time they stay in stock. Won't be replenishing them though this time. This is the final call. Come in number 9. So is going to be florals, it's going to be flowers, it's going to be something, it's probably going to be doodled on. And I think I'm going to sit down. So I think I'll move my water a little bit closer. Where shall I put it? Put it here. Okay, so I have nothing in mind at all, except I want to use up the paint that's in these palettes. So I'm just going to use it. And we'll see what happens. Just let your mind go wherever it wants to go. And, well, you know, if it doesn't want to go anywhere, leave it alone. And don't be afraid of mixing your paints, letting them call to you as you go along. And one of the things I love to do is to let the water do the work. I wish the water would do well, water does do the washing up, I suppose, doesn't it, when you think about it? If you put it in the dishwasher. Yeah. What do I got on my brush? Kind of green, I think, yes. So here we go. Let's have... A little while ago, I started doing these sploshy, splosh. I mean, really formless, shapeless. You remember? And then I would draw into them with pen to give them their outlines, and that's I did quite a few like that earlier on in the year, and probably will do more because they are fun. Watch your tone, you know. I should watch my tone. Watch your tones. If you get something that's too dark, don't be afraid to dab it out, you know. If you get a colour that you really suddenly accidentally create like that, which I'm completely overawed by, that is buff titanium mixed with what I think is Hooker's green. And it's, God, it's just ecstatically fantastic. And what I'm going to try and do is lift this one a bit more and then paint over the top with this light one when that's dried. And that I'm doing not so much because it's a mistake, but because I just really like that colour that I've accidentally created. And probably will never be able to create again. So if you are doing colour work, practicing with your different colours, you might want to think about writing down what you are using, so you don't forget. There's one little compartment in my palette empty. And what about this one? Can we get close? Let's put some... Yeah, the buff titanium is really interesting because it, of course, goes with everything. Because it's so neutral, it would, wouldn't it? Dum-de-dum-de-dum. It's a little bit darker. Hope everyone's having a good has had a good Christmas. By the time you see this, it will be gone. At least it stopped raining for a day. I think Christmas Day is going to be dry here, which will be a relief because I'm not complaining about the rain. We need the rain, but you know, sometimes you think to yourself, oh, for goodness sake, it would be useful if it would stop just for a minute. If you mix a reddish color with a green, you'll get a darker green. And if you put water on your work, the paint will run. And you might find you like what you get. Ooh, that's bright. I don't know what I picked up there. I'm going to dab some of that off. That's a bit too much of a good thing. Let's find some beige and put that on top of there. Greyish colour. And then let's go into the pinks a little bit here. So I think we need some pink. Pink is a lovely contrast to sort of soft greens, isn't it? And that's alizarin crimson, so you might want to use a bit of that because that will sort of mix and mingle and bleed and do everything that colours should do. Don't like that green in the middle there too much. I think it's always important to remember that, unlike in life, anything can be corrected. And like in life, if you go back to it quick enough, you can usually correct it. Right, that one's a bit too light up there. Don't forget that when you're painting this kind of thing, it will be lighter when it's dry. I want to give a bit more variety in this one. It's dried a bit solid, probably because it was the first one. And I'm going to dab the centre of that a little bit too. That one, and then we'll put the red back in, the pink. And here we'll have some beige again, I think, just to soften that one. It's nice and vintage looking. And if you cut your choices down by using only the colours that you've got in your palette mixed up already, left over from before, you will find that you paint much more freely because you don't have to think about it so much. Just use what's there and see what happens. That's the best way I know of learning, is by doing. And developing your own style is so important. Now, I've been ignoring all of these little ones here, and I just realised, you know, I'm not going to be able to use them all up. There's nowhere, no way on earth that. And this could be eucalyptus, couldn't it? Isn't that a lovely colour? And that just happened by chance. That would have been, that was either hooker's green or sap green mixed with buff titanium. I'll put a link in the description below so that you can go and check it out, see if you want to invest. Shall I put a rose down here? I resisted buying it for ages, and then I just thought, oh, I've got to find out what all the fuss is about. So I bought some. Can't remember now how much it was. I think it was quite expensive. So what else have we got here? A little bit more pink. A little bit more pink. We're coming to the end of the pink. Good job, we're coming to the end of the paper. And let's pick up some of this peach. And oops, don't waste me, says Buff Titanium. You will regret it. You don't want to waste me. Let's just put some, try and use some of this green up. Some random leaves, don't like that. That was a mistake, really. Chunks of paint sitting there. There are times when you want that kind of effect, but not always. There we go, that's better. There's always one that's naughty. There's always one. Always one. Now I'm going to, I think, be rampant and rash and put in some, shall I do it? Some brown. I don't know if it's going to work. It's going to take me towards the idea of pen work, I think, if I do this. That brown, which is a lovely brown. Oh no, I just realised I didn't recorrect my camera position. So some of the ones down the bottom you haven't been able to see. Oh dear. You see, that's what happens, isn't it? I don't know if it will be okay. Yeah, this brown, what did I do? How did I get that? That's alizarin crimson and a dark green, like hooker's green. You have to have a little bit of contrast. I could do it with pen, and I might yet. And maybe I'll pick up some of these lighter colours from over here. And fill in all these spaces. Perhaps we should put some circles. Contrast colours. As I've said so many times before, you have no idea where the painting is going to go when you start it. If you start off trying to actually copy somebody else, you will almost certainly be upset and disappointed because it won't be the same as theirs. So I don't recommend that you do that. You mix green with orange, you're going to get a kind of, depending on the proportion, something between a brown and a grey. Like this. And don't worry about overlapping. If things overlap, it doesn't matter. In fact, you rather want it to. And just make your leaves in whatever shape comes naturally to you. And you can have green circles for green berries if you want. If you paint like this, then you don't have to worry also you don't have to worry about details and things like that. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of spatter on using some of this. And those dishes are getting quite, what's the word? Empty. So I shall now take a pen, and this is, I'm not going to use the brush pen today. I'm going to use a pigment liner, ordinary Staedtler black. I think, shall I use black or shall I use brown? I think I might use brown. Shall I use brown? That means I have to cross the room because I've moved all my pens. No, I'll use black. Shall I use black? I don't know. Shall I? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to dry it, and then I will have decided by then. So I'll turn you off. Okay, it's dry now, and what I'm going to use is this brown, is sepia coloured Winsor & Newton fine liner, size 0.5, and I'm going to use that to do some line work on here. And I think that although it's a relaxing and interesting and enjoyable process to do this part of it, it's actually, if you're going to do it, it's quite important to think a little bit about what you're doing, because if you just scribble, then your whole painting will just look like scribble. So probably best not to. Now, so the centres of the flowers would benefit probably from a bit of perspective, which is what you can give them by putting in some stamens. And obviously the leaves will really benefit by having some veins and a little bit of structure around the outside. And you don't need to keep exactly to the lines, and you can do whatever style you want. You can, if you naturally have a slightly shaky hand, you're at a great advantage here, because your line work will look fantastically vintage and expressive. So don't feel uncomfortable about doing line work just because you don't have fine control. Hold the pencil lightly, or the pen, and don't worry if you go outside the paint, it's all the better. You see how much better that looks? Once you've done that, it starts to have real character. And then you, by doing this, then the paint knows what it was put there for. It's not saying, oh, am I a leaf or am I a petal? It's saying, I know very well what I am. I am in existence now. And so then just lightly do your petals around your flower, and Bob's your uncle again. So, and then we'll have, I think this looks like a hibiscus. Just very lightly, you don't have to press hard. And as long as you've got a rough idea of what a leaf and a petal looks like, and we all do, don't we? Because we're old enough now to know. Although I don't look at things properly, you know. Occasionally my daughter, she says to me something as blatantly obvious, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realise that. I didn't realise how many petals were on that particular, or anyway, but I can tell her things too, because she doesn't believe me when I tell her that the grass will always grow back. And I know it will, and I'll always be right. Because it's wet here, and there's no way, and I know that if you live in a drought area, you might lose your grass completely, but this isn't a drought area. It hasn't stopped raining since about September. So I'm just going around the berries, or the circles, whatever they are, very lightly. And these ones here, I'm looking forward to doing these ones. This is more or less pure buff titanium. And that's such a lovely colour. It makes my heart sing, really. And here we have another one that could do with some nice dots around there, a bit like an orchid. Some orchids have these wonderful patterns on them, don't they? There we go, so that's right. And then we'll turn this one into more of a circle. And because it's not a complete circle, if you draw the circle, then you've got a highlight, you see. This one's quite nice and big, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I hope you're still there. Yeah, the birds would love those, wouldn't they? Lovely fat berries. So what did you all have for Christmas dinner? We don't eat meat. We're vegetarian in this family, so we will have had, hopefully, if everything goes well today, a nut loaf, which, if anyone's interested in the recipe that we use, I've put it on my Facebook page, my personal one. Christmas pudding, Christmas cake. Most English people have turkey or chicken. Doing some stamens here, again, some circles over the center of this flower. And then we'll just outline the petals a little bit. See how obedient the paint was? It just completely formed what I was hoping for. And this one here. Some of them we'll leave, like these very light ones around the edges. I'm not going to do anything with them. And some like this, you might just choose to join them on perhaps and give them one stroke or two, not to outline them completely as if you were doing colouring in or something. Just because then you get a bit more contrast, don't you? And here again, we're going to have the same sort of ideas. Make some of them empty, make some of them solid. The center of this flower. And look how pretty this edge is. I'm not even going to touch that. That's lovely. And then around here, just use the pen really lightly. It's a strong thing, sepia, and it's more than you need, really. Now these ones are going to be a little bit more structured than those ones, just because of contrast. You don't need to put veins on both sides of your leaves. You can just put them on one side. No law that states that all leaves should have veins on both sides when you're doing an artistic rendition. Don't have to have any at all if you don't want. And you can make up the shapes of the leaves if you want. Many people do. I tend to I think I've got very strong muscle memory for certain shapes, and so it's very hard to break away from that. So you always make what you might consider the same mistakes, or you could say that it just speeds things up. I taught myself how to paint birds in a certain way, and so that's the way they're going to be now, probably till the end of time. And I'm going to put some sort of spiky center bits in this one rather than circles. Do spikes. And I don't know quite how this one's going to go on the outside. We just do some spiky bits and things, I think, for a change. And then we have our leaves. And how far down have we got now? Hopefully you can still see the light in here is very bad, but the camera's quite good at correcting for that, so should be okay. And this does give a little bit more sort of depth to the thing. So this is the stem for this one. I'm just going to do some leaves underneath or inside the paint rather than to the side, so just like that, just for a change. And let's round off these berries again. Eventually, when you've done enough painting, you'll find that you can draw a perfect circle, pretty much a perfect circle, without any effort whatsoever. I'm just putting circles inside the center of this flower, and we'll put a few coming out, not many, and we're going to call this one a poppy. So 4 petals on a poppy, so I'll do more than that just to make sure no one complains. There we are. Some more circles, very roughly, but only rough in a certain way. Hope you're going to watch the long video that we put up just before Christmas with the animals and birds to paint with children. We're hoping that people who've been given paint sets for Christmas will be saying Nanny or Grandma or Nana or whatever it happens to be in your language. What shall I paint? And you'll be able to say, oh, there's a lovely long video with lots of funky animals, and there's a turtle, and there's a bird, and there's a what else is there? There's oh gosh, I can't remember. Well, you'll have to find out. Turtle. There's a very, very nice blue turtle. Cats. No, not chickens. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. And I painted them. There's 9 videos anyway on the long video. And it's all done in chapters, so you can find everything easily. The chapters are underneath in the description. And yeah, I thought that would be fun. So we're getting towards the end now. I'm just going to put a little bit of texture on the rose, not too much. I think it's very important to use the right pen for this. You need the right colour. Just anything won't do. And you need to be sympathetic to your design. Okay, now I could leave that for a bit and come back and have another look, but I think I'm going to leave it with you now. We've had about half an hour, and I'm sorry if there's a bit where you can't see. I haven't looked yet, so I'm not sure. Anyway, if you did like this, give us a like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't forget to come back. Go and visit our website. You can download loads of sketches there for free, especially for the long videos. They're very useful. And we have our membership. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, we've got lots of perks on there coming, and more coming up in the new year. And so you can either join Patreon or you can join membership on YouTube. Or if you would just like to send us a tip to show your appreciation, you can do that from the website as well. So I hope you go over there and sign up for our newsletter, which comes out sporadically. It has to be said, it's not that regular, but it does come out from time to time. And yeah, so there we are. There is our one way of cleaning the crockery. Use it to paint with. Somebody's bound to say to me, I tell you what you need is, I do need, is some white here. Somebody will say to me, why don't you paint with coffee? Somebody said that before, and I haven't got around to doing it. I have done it, did do it once years ago, but I can afford paint now. So there we are. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again soon. So I'll say bye-bye for now, and I'll see you on the website. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.